Okay, so my mom voted for Trump, and for the second time. And I just don't understand why my mom, having a daughter, me, who is somebody who has struggled through life with, a single mom, definitely depended on food stamps, Medicaid. I'm autistic. I have mental health struggles. It's just so hard for me to understand how my mom can have me for a daughter and then literally go to the polls and vote against everything that would help me. You know what I mean? And her biggest excuse and reasoning is for the economy, all that. Like, he's going to make everything better. He's going to save us money. But what I don't understand is, why do they support this pathway to saving the country money? Why do they support cutting all this funding for all these vulnerable and populations, minority populations, taking things from people who need them? That is their approach, rather than literally just enforcing the IRS enforcing the freaking tax laws and making these billionaires pay their share. Literally, if they would pay their share, that's it. We'd be good. That's all we need. It's such an easy solution, and I just don't understand.
Have you guys seen that viral Facebook post? It's a mom, and she's crying, and she's like, I don't understand how my kids can block me and rob me of seeing my grandchildren grow up just because I voted for Trump. And surprisingly, all the comments were anti-Trump, and that never happens on Facebook. I have my own mother blocked. I blocked her on Thanksgiving because of her support for Donald Trump. So I will give another perspective. How the fuck can you choose Donald Trump over the child that you gave birth to? Furthermore, if it really is just politics, then why won't you denounce Trump for your children? Seems to me like that lady's problems could be solved really quickly. It's to open her eyes and look at the world. Look at the world. Look at the world. Then look at your child. And they probably have so much fundamental empathy because you raised them like that. So your child is probably wondering what happened to yours. Grow the fuck up.
I haven't spoken to or seen my dad in 6 years because of Trump mostly. But it started way earlier than that. In 2009, I went to college, and one of the first things that he said to me was just don't become a liberal, because I was raised, in an evangelical home, extremely conservative, big on GUNs, all of that. And of course I went to school, and that was exactly what I did. And, then the 2012 election came around, and I voted for Obama, and that was when we really started to butt heads. And then the 2016 election happened, and one of my sisters and I got on a conference call with him and literally begged him for hours to change his mind and not vote for Trump. And, we begged him for 8 years, probably, starting before the 2020 or the 2012 election, and then continuing through the 2016 election and 3 years beyond that, just begging him to learn and grow. And he just refused. And my mom followed suit. One of our other sisters followed suit. And now none of our family really speaks. And sometimes I'm curious, if he did change. So I go look at his Facebook, and it's just, those typical boomer memes that are super anti-liberal and anti-progressive. And I'm marrying a woman, I don't even know if they know that.
Parents who normalize fascism in the household and then are shocked when their children grow up and decide to go no contact are clearly geniuses. What do you mean you had pre-approved outfits for your child to pick between? You gave them two options, said, no, you cannot go into your closet and choose your own outfit to go on your own body. At no point did you allow your child to freely express or be themselves in any way, shape, or form, and you're confused why they don't want a relationship with you? Are you being serious? This is the problem with Trump supporters. They don't even recognize that they themselves are fascists running a fascist household, so of course they cannot identify that they worship a fascist who's also a pedophile.
The 2024 election changed a lot of relationship. For many people, it was never just about politics. it became about values, morality, and whether the people closest to them cared about their rights and their future. And that's why many children are carrying off their parents. So let's get to see more. Please like and hype the video and let me know your thoughts in the comments, alright? Let's get into it.
Yesterday I shared that my dad and I were no contact before he passed away earlier this year. I want to expand a little bit about that because I feel like there are a lot of people in my situation who have gone no contact with their MAGA family members. The last time I spoke to him was on my 40th birthday, which was 6 years ago. The sad thing about my parents is they didn't always used to be that way. I grew up in the 90s, and my house in middle school and high school was a safe place for my friends. I had a lot of queer friends. I had friends that didn't have good situations at home, and they were always welcome at our house. My mom, being Filipina, of course, always made sure that everybody was fed, but they would let my friends stay as long as they wanted. And my parents were actually really popular with my friends, especially my dad, because he would talk to them and get to know them as a person, which apparently was very revolutionary back in the 90s. Things started to change when Rush Limbaugh got on the air with his radio station. And my dad started listening to him pretty religiously. And then Fox News came on the air, and that was all my parents watched. Even still to this day, my mom only watches Fox News. Seeing how their personalities changed, it was like they became different people. Really fearful, hateful, bigoted, and just so closed off from any other opinions other than what was being fed to them. Like I said a couple videos back, people that follow MAGA don't question authority. And that was 100% them. For a while, we just never talked about politics when we would see each other or talk to each other. And my parents retired to the Philippines 2 months before Trump got elected the first time. I think they thought Hillary was going to win and they got the fuck out of the country. So they lived in the Philippines and the only way we'd communicate was over Facebook. The relationship pretty much deteriorated when I once sent my dad a happy birthday message. And he wrote back and was like, I can't follow you on Facebook anymore because I don't like the way you're talking about Trump. I get my opinionated, outspoken nature from my dad. And my response was basically like, you can do whatever you want, but I'm never going to shut up about this guy. And eventually we just stopped talking to each other. So if you're in the same boat and you are low contact or no contact with people in your family that are MAGA, I know that it can be a really painful experience, especially around the holidays, because we are force-fed this narrative that holidays are all about being with family, with a very narrow definition of what family actually means. And I hate the movies where families are estranged, but through the magic of the holidays, they somehow come together and reunite. It's absolute bollocks. These people are showing us that they are not safe to be around. Especially the ones that are excusing PDF files. If you have kids, absolutely, those people are not safe to be around. I've been pretty open about my relationship with my parents in my real life and online too, to a certain extent. And I've actually been reached out by friends that are like, hey, I'm thinking about going no contact because of this reason. And I guess not really advice, but just know that I see you. There are a lot of us out there. I know it's hard. It can be really painful to not be in communication with your family, especially the people that brought you into the world. And I really think Trump's legacy is going to be how many families this man has broken up, either literally, physically breaking them up, or ideologically breaking them up. That's his legacy.
Talked to my MAGA mom today. She asked how it went. I said, great, right up until we bombed Iran. She said, we didn't bomb Iran. We bombed their nuclear facilities. I said, Mom, they don't have any nuclear facilities. Said, Trump's director of national intelligence said they don't have any. She then told me that that woman, or that man, was a liar. Tulsi Gabbard, that guy was a liar. She said the reason he didn't tell them ahead of time was because there were so many Palestinians in Congress that they would have let Iran know that we were going to bomb them, so he couldn't tell them ahead of time. She also accused AOC of being Palestinian. She said the people in Gaza deserved what they got because Israel is God's chosen people. This is the fucking bullshit that I have to listen to for my brain damaged MAGA mom. It's so fucked up. It's so brainwashed. She told me I needed to read my Bible because Israel was God's chosen people. Guys, I can't. I cannot handle this.
When talking to my Trump supporting mom a couple weeks ago, she kept saying to me, well, where do you get your news? Where do you get your news? And some of it I was like, everywhere. And I told her some sources. But some of it I was like, I just know that. She's like, you just know that? Yeah, I just know that. Like, what do you mean? I don't have to get every bit of information from somebody else. I know things. And she's like, well, where'd you hear that? What do you mean? I read books. I don't know exactly. Like, I've been studying history, and I'm in a grad program, and I have access to research articles, and I just fucking know things because I learned things. My mom, who does not read, who did not go to college, did not get any degrees, doesn't seem to understand that you can know things because you learned things. And I'm not saying that you have to go to college to be smart, but I am saying that you have to learn things to be smart. And if you don't do any research and learn things in your lifetime by reading and talking to people and forming your own opinions from many, many different sources over your lifespan, you're fucking stupid.
Hey, Mom, do you think that the Republican Party and MAGA are the same thing?
Absolutely not. I grew up Republican, voted Republican my entire life, and the leaders that I admired were incredibly respectful of women. They would never weaponize Christianity because they were not hypocristians. They lived their faith. They treated people with different ideologies with respect, not like enemies of the state. They would never raid the Capitol. I don't even recognize that. They handled hard issues, immigration and abortion, but with compassion. And I think because politics wasn't a game show, it wasn't cruelty for claps. What's happening now, that's not the party that I believe in. This is something else entirely.
So would you vote Republican again?
I don't know that the Republican Party exists anymore. This is MAGA. I will not vote MAGA.
I don't care how many views you're getting on a podcast talking to your MAGA parents. The minute my dad says, I don't care about anybody in California, including you, there is no more relationship. The relationship is over. I wouldn't let my worst enemy talk to me that way, much less my father. I wouldn't let a stranger on the street talk to me that way, much less my own parent. I'm very rarely one who is inclined to judge the legitimacy of somebody else's content, but in this circumstance, is it a really necessary conversation anymore, or is it just exploitative? And if it is exploitative, who's being exploited? It's not your parents. It's not your parents. Y'all are the ones losing. And I've never talked to these people. I've never had a conversation with them, but parasocially, I consider them friends in a way. I care about their well-being, and at this point, I don't think it's healthy. I think y'all need to pivot.
I asked a lot about what to do with MAGA family members, and I don't know. I don't know what to do with them, which is why I just choose not to interact with mine. But there are two things that I do know for sure. The one is that you should not accept abuse from anyone. And if someone can't respect a small boundary of yours, they are not going to respect a larger one. I think right now we are sort of tightening our belts on the idea of being comfortable, and it's no longer about doing the thing that makes us most comfortable. It's about choosing which discomfort we'd rather live with. One of those things where there is not a right decision, and sometimes when I'm confronted with these scenarios, the way to put it into perspective for myself is to look for the things that I'm grateful for. When it comes to these topics, which keep me up at night, my own personal relationships with my parents and talking about them on the internet, that keeps me up at night, but I am so grateful that that's what keeps me up at night. These are the decisions I have to make, not whether or not I'm going to flee the country, not whether or not my kids are going to come home and have parents tomorrow because of the color of their skin. And when I think about it that way, cutting out the people who supported creating the environment for that to be the case becomes a lot easier. And honestly, as a white person, for me personally, it's the absolute least I could do.
Walking away from your parents is one of the hardest decisions anybody can make, because deep down, you know that is your family and you still want the best for them, And the society teaches us that family should come first, we should forgive family, and that we should stay connected to them no matter what happens. But many people believe that protecting their mental health and their well-being should always come first. And to many adult children who have chosen to go no contact with their family, this decision was not made overnight, Most people did not wake up and they decided that they're going to cut off their parents. That decision came after years of arguments, disappointment, frustration, and even emotional pain. Many people say that they have reached a point where they believe the political choices that their parents made reflected values that they no longer accept, because certain issues touch their own lives, their own healthcare, their own family, and their own future. But in most cases, the memories are still there. The memories of birthdays, holidays, and childhood experiences, they are still there. But what changed is trust. You see, children no longer felt understood when it came to issues that deeply mattered to them. And that's why over time, every conversation became another argument. Every visit became emotionally exhausting. But all in all, choosing distance takes courage. It means accepting loneliness, That means you no longer be spending time with your families over holidays, over birthdays, or even other parties. But what I know is that the 2024 election will be remembered as one that had many relationships are broken, not just who won or even who lost, because people, they are no longer arguing about taxes, immigration, or even government spending. They are arguing about identity, values, and what kind of a country they want to live in. And those conversations are much harder to resolve because they touch people's deepest beliefs. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.